Good morning, everyone. This will be my video lecture in legal aspects in the hotel or in the hospitality and tourism industry. Now, today is September 15, 2022. So, we proceed with another topic which will be relating to the forms of business organizations. No? When we talk about the forms or the formation of business organizations, of course, there are three kinds or types which you should learn. No? The first would be what we call, okay, these are the forms. No? Forms of business organizations. Forms of business organizations. No? Why is this important to you people, no? Professionals in the hotel or hospitality and tourism industry? Well, because someday when you graduate, of course, your intention, if you could not put up a job or if you want to engage in business, would be to decide on what to put up as a business, right? Now, if you do not want to be practicing in the hotel or hospitality or tourism industry, perhaps your next option will be to put up your own business. And when you put up your own business in the hospitality or tourism trade, no? When you put up your business in the hotel or hospitality and tourism trade, of course, the first thing that comes to your mind would be, how will I start? No? What will be my startup business entity? No? So you have to decide, of course, what form of business organization are you going to put up? No? So of course, by putting up a business organization, before you put up rather a business organization, of course there's a need for you to what? Well, to study if your business will be feasible. So there is a need for you to have a feasibility study. Okay, clear? When we talk of feasibility, something that is feasible or something that we know will be viable in the long run, no, that your business can sustain, it will be sustainable, no, in the long run, no, something that is viable, something that is sustainable. That's why there is a need for you to have first and foremost a feasibility study before putting up your own business organization. Okay, clear so far? And the business organizations that you may put up may come in any of the following. No? So the first is what we call sole proprietorship. No? May come in the following. It depends on you. It depends on your need. No? It depends on which one you like as a business organization. The second is what we call partnership. And the third is what we call a corporation. No? So depending on your business requirement or need, you may choose a sole proprietorship, or you may choose a form of the partnership, or you may choose a corporation. Let us take them one by one. Okay? So first will be the sole proprietorship. Well, from each word alone, sole, how many would this be? It will only be one. So you are in command, you are the owner, you are in command of your business alone. No? You are the only one. Sometimes, initially, when you start your business in the hospitality or tourism industry, you may want to put up this, yung sole proprietorship. Why is that? Well, because, of course, this kind of organization, business organization, would entail a lower capital, no? Siyempre, ito yung problema mo when you start your own business. It will be your capital. Correct? So if you want to start small, no, start small, but dream big, no, start. This will be start small, but dream big. No, when you put up your own business, start small, but you have to dream big. So you would rather want to start small by putting up a sole proprietorship. This is the first form of business organization. I will just briefly discuss how it is being formed, no? But if you want a more detailed discussion on the forms of business organizations, then you can browse some books on how to go about it. No, so for the sole proprietorship, as I told you, you are already the owner, you are the manager, sometimes you will also be the worker, no? Rolled into one, no? Because you are still lacking in capital. So you own the business, you manage the business, and then sometimes you also have to operate or man the business itself on your own. Because of course the problem here for sole proprietorship is capital. Here, so far? So how do you register sole proprietorship? Which office do you think will register your sole proprietorship? The office, the appropriate office that you will go to in order to register this will be the DTI. What is the DTI? Department of Trade and Industry. No, Department of Trade and Industry, particular in the Bureau of Trade Promotion, Bureau of Trade Promotion and Consumer Protection. So this is the particular consumer protection. No? So here, when you go to the DTI, the appropriate office or the appropriate bureau or division there, the appropriate bureau would be this, the Bureau of Trade, Promotion, and Consumer Protection. Now, here in our jurisdiction, here in Pangasinan, there is the DTI Provincial Office. And where do you find the DTI Provincial Office? In Dagupan City, no? There is the Provincial Office of the DTI. If you still know where is NEPA Mall is, so before you reach NEPA Mall, there is a building there of the DTI, no? About just a stone's throw away from the NEPA Mall, no? So you just go there. By the way, for the DTI, Department of Trade and Industry, they have regional offices in every region. They have regional offices. How many regions do we have? I think it's 17, right? So they have regional offices in every region. And for every regional office, of course, they have what we call provincial offices. Provincial, the one in Dagupan is a provincial office, no? For every regional office of the DTI, there is what we call the provincial office of the DTI, no? So here in our case, where is the regional office of the DTI? It's in La Union, San Fernando City, La Union. But of course, as I told you, for every regional office, it is composed of different provincial offices. And it so happened that the provincial office in Pangasinan is located in Dagupan City. Okay, clear so far? So how do you go about it, registering your sole proprietorship? So what you do, in case you put up, say for instance, you want to put up your travel agency, no? In case you want to put up your travel agency and the form of business organization would be a sole proprietorship, how do you go about it? Huh? Well, I told you earlier that the proper office would be the DTI. So if you want to put up your travel agency and the form of business organization will be the sole proprietorship, you will just go to the DTI. Proprietorship. you go to the DTI, in the provincial office of the DTI. So what document are you going to bring in order to register your sole proprietorship? Well, today, because the DTI is business friendly, no, it is they have reduced the number of documents that are required for you to register your sole proprietorship. So if you want to register your travel agency and the form is a sole proprietorship, the DTI would just require you to what? Present your ID. No, ID na lang kailangan, no? For you to register your travel agency or whatever business you want to register in the tourism or hospitality industry. So you just bring your ID, specifying your name and all the other your name and also some information relating to you. You present your ID, you tell the DTI office that you want to register your travel agency. And how long will it take the DTI to register your travel agency? As I told you, it is now business friendly. The office is now business friendly, so it will take you only 15 minutes. So you could already wait for the certificate of registration in the DTI. Clear? So far? 15 minutes only. Why is that? Or less. No? 15 minutes or less. Why is that? Because I told you the DTI is embracing a business friendly environment. Clear? Business friendly environment. Okay? So that is with regard to a sole proprietorship. Now we move on to the second form of business organization, which we call a partnership. No? A partnership. Okay, let's move on. If you want to choose partnership, of course, where do you register your partnership? Well, let us define first what is a partnership. A partnership, by the contract of partnership, two or more persons. No? So it will require how many? Two or more persons to register your partnership. Two or more persons bind themselves. No? Bind themselves. How do they bind themselves? Bind themselves to contribute MPI, no? Money, property, or industry. Industry meaning yourself, your effort, no? So by the contract of partnership, two or more persons bind themselves to contribute money, property or industry to a common fund. To a common fund. So there is the CF, no? That we call a common fund, no? There is a CF, common fund. What is the intention of binding themselves? So they contribute money, property or industry to a common fund for the purpose of dividing the profits thereof. No? So always the purpose of a partnership is of course to generate profit with the intention of dividing the profit among themselves, among the partners, the two or more persons. Okay? Clear so far? So I repeat, when we define a partnership, by the contract of partnership, two or more persons bind themselves to contribute money, property, or industry. We call that the MPI, no? Money, property, or industry to a common fund with the intention of dividing the profits among themselves, no? So of course, the objective of forming a partnership is profit. Clear so far? And how do you go about it registering a partnership? No, this is another form of business organization. How do you form a partnership? Well, of course, partnerships are registered in the SEC. No, what is the SEC? Securities and Exchange Commission. This is the SEC. Securities and Exchange Commission. And where is this located? No, the regional office that covers our province would be in the SECCAR, no, in Baguio City, no, Cordillera Administrative Region, no, SEC rather than SEC. SEC in the car in Baguio City. So they have an office in Baguio City. Now, what is required for you to register your partnership? Anyone? So when you go to the SEC, do you bring your ID in order to register your partnership? Of course not. No? So before going to SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, before going to that office to register your partnership, of course you have to execute what we call the Articles of Partnership, AP, no? You have to execute the Articles of Partnership, whereby, this is by the way the contract already, no? This is the contract. By the contract of partnership, two or more persons bind themselves to contribute money, property, or industry to a common fund with the intention of dividing the profits among themselves. So you execute these Articles of Partnership, and this is what you will be bringing for registration to the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. Clear so far? Mind you people, so you know where to register. No, you register your partnership to the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. Now, mind you, this kind of contract is based on trust and confidence. It's based on trust and confidence. So there is a principle in law which you call delectus personae. No? There is this principle, no? Whereby you have the right to choose which partners you would like to have in your partnership, no? Because as I told you earlier, this kind of contract is based on trust and confidence, no? Clear so far? I'm just discussing to you the registration requirement, no? So here you register the Articles of Partnership in the SEC for you to have or create a partnership. Okay? So we move on to the third business form or business organization. No? The third is a little bit complicated because it will involve people. No? In the case of sole proprietorship, how many persons is required? Only one. For the partnership, two or more persons you can create a partnership. No? But in the case of the third business form would be what we call a corporation. Clear so far? If you want to create a corporation, what is the requirement here? Of course, when you create a corporation, you have to execute what we call the Articles of Incorporation. Just like a partnership, Articles of Incorporation. This is the legal document that you have to file. And also, aside from the Articles of Incorporation, they will also require you to file the bylaws of the corporation. And where do you file this? You file this also in the SEC. What is the SEC again? Securities and Exchange Commission, which is based in Baguio City. No? So here, you file the Articles of Incorporation and the bylaws in the SEC for you to create a corporation. Clear so far? Now, how do we accomplish the Articles of Incorporation or the bylaws? Diba? You may ask, how do we go about it in executing the articles and the bylaws? Now here, when you create a corporation, you need about 5 to 15 people, which will first comprise the corporation. Now the 5 to 15, we call them the incorporators. Clear so far? So the incorporators are the first people who will sign, no? Who will sign the articles of incorporation. Clear? So you need 5 to 15 people who will sign the articles of incorporation, no? And these 5 to 15 would be called the incorporators. Remember that you need, if you want only 5 or 6 or 7, it could also be, as long as the minimum is 5 people, no? To execute what we call the articles of incorporation. Now, is that all that is required? Of course, when you go to the SEC, because that is the office where we register the corporation. When you go to the SEC, no, the SEC would ask you about the names of your company, names of the corporation which you would like to register, no? Meaning it's the proposed names, no? Proposed names of the corporation which you wish to register. Get that? So how many names, proposed names, will be required by the SEC to you? They will ask you to have about 3 proposed names, no? So perhaps you would like to say, what's this? Tourism professionals, tourism prof. These are just examples, no? Incorporated, not tourism prof, or tourism agents, Inc., or tourism tourism agents, tourism prof, tourism agents, and tourism buff, for instance, no? Incorporated. So here you propose 3 names, no? What is the purpose of proposing 3 names for your company or your corporation? Because if they find out, no, in the database of the SEC, if they find out that this name is already registered by anyone, no, anywhere in the Philippines, then they would cross that out, no? It will not be approved. So they go to the second option. If this one is available and no company is by the name of tourism agents, then they will approve that. Okay? So the idea for proposing 3 names is, of course, to ensure that there will be one name, no, that they have to approve, that they will approve. Okay? So remember that you have to think of 3 names, already proposed names, before you go to the SEC, because they will be asking you that. Okay? The 3 names of the corporation which will be proposed as the name of your company which you wish to register. Now, I told you about the 5 to 15 people which shall execute the articles of incorporation. Diba? 5 to 15 ang requirement to execute the articles of incorporation. This is the document that you will be bringing to the SEC aside from the bylaws of your company. Now, once it has been approved by the SEC, the name and the articles and bylaws, then they will issue the certificate of registration of the company already. No? They will issue the certificate of registration by the company, and once it is registered, then you have a period of 5 years to organize the company. 5 years to organize. Okay? It doesn't mean that once it is approved, the name of your company has been approved by SEC, you can immediately organize. You are given 5 years to organize your corporation. When I say to organize, it's not you will be buying some, land perhaps, or a building, and then of course hiring people. That is what we mean by organizing your company. Now, what are the 5 to 15 people again? How are they called? When you form your corporation, they're called as incorporators. They are the ones signing the document, no? The incorporators first sign the document which we call the articles of incorporation. Now later on, because you will be having No, you will be having some more investors or businesses. Of course, your company may not only consist of 5 to 15 people. You'll be having some investors. Then those investors, other people in the company who invest would be called as corporators. Clear so far? So, is that the end of the story? Well, what I've talked about the sole proprietorship, what I've talked about or discussed about the sole proprietorship, about the partnership, and the corporation is only with respect to the registration, the name of your partnership, of the company, or the sole proprietorship. Only with the registration requirements, no? Now, in order for you to operate your company, your partnership, or your sole proprietorship, what is needed? Well, what is needed is, of course, to what? To comply with the licensing requirements. No, licensing requirements. Remember that the registration is only with regard to the registration requirement. It's a different thing if you want to operate that already. So you get your license. Where do you get your license? In the appropriate LGU, local government unit. Okay, clear so far? I have discussed to you the registration requirements as well as the licensing requirements of every form of business organization. Now you take down your assignment. This is already assignment number 3. Okay? Number 1, for assignment number 3, compare or differentiate. Compare or differentiate a sole proprietorship from a partnership and then from a corporation. I repeat, compare or differentiate a sole proprietorship, a partnership, and a corporation. Clear? Number 2, what are the advantages and or disadvantages of forming A, sole proprietorship, B, partnership, then C, corporation? I repeat, number 2, what are the advantages and or disadvantages of forming letter A sole proprietorship, letter B, a partnership, then letter C, a corporation? Then number 3, if you were to put up your own business in the hospitality or tourism industry, which form of business organization would you choose and why? Okay, number 3, if you want or if you wish to put up a business in the hospitality or tourism industry, what form of business organization are you going to choose and why? Okay, that is assignment number 3. Okay, that is all for today. Good morning, everyone.